Q&A, so enjoy this video. It will be amazing.
Who voices Matthew Patel. And finally, we have Mark Weber, who voices Stephen Stills.
Redo Scott Pilgrim, it would be a little boring for me personally. But also that every single choice that we made would be compared to the movie and compared to the book. And then you start having to change little things to make it make sense for now, or to make it make sense for younger people, or whatever, or just something that that we had to change. And I was like, if you change even one little thing, why not? It's like a slippery slope. You might as well just rethink everything. Just go back to the foundation and tear it apart. So, and then Ben David had a pretty good idea, I thought, which was, what was it?
Well, we had a dinner one night, and he was saying, it'd be really nice if I could do Scott Pilgrim again, but not do the same story. It'd be great if maybe Ramona could be the lead. It'd be great if the other characters could have more screen time instead of dying. And I said, well, then just have Scott die in the first night of the fight against Matthew Patel, and then Ramona becomes the lead, and then at the end you find out a big twist, which I don't know if I can say right now. But I said that, and I said also it'd be great if there's a Scott Pilgrim movie in the show starring Lucas Lee. And this was not a business meeting, this was not me pitching Brian, this was just us having dinner. And instead of saying, bad idea, he said, I really like that idea, and then somehow, very soon, it became what the show was.
He just knows me really well, and he knew that I would respond to something so stupid. Career suicide.
Well, I spend most of my time meeting on ideas for shows and TV, and I'm like, what if you did a big idea? And they say, no. And in this case, I was like, hey, here's a big idea. And Brian, because he hadn't made a show before, said, okay, that's cool, that's a normal thing to do. And then it ended up becoming the thing. And now we're sitting here with all these lovely people.
To answer and then achieve, when you are whipping up this story, what were some of the guidelines in terms of making sure that it satisfied the longtime Scott Pilgrim fans, but also served as an on-ramp for newcomers?
I mean, that's the biggest question ever. But yeah, it was constantly in our mind. We want to make sure, a 14-year-old who's never heard of Scott Pilgrim could just accidentally press play on Netflix and still understand it and get something out of it. But also that people who've been reading the books for 20 years would feel satisfied too. So I don't know how we did it.
I think the fan side is, I always trusted that if we came from a place of enthusiasm and we weren't treating it like it was a broken thing that we were fixing, we'd be okay. And then I think for new fans, we just needed to have a bunch of funny characters explain things to people who didn't know stuff. So it's like really helpful if, like in episode 3, people don't know character dynamics. You're like, well, Aubrey Plaza will just tell the audience who all these people are. That would be funny. So
We'll go in order. I mean, for me, I would just say that I love that Knives gets to have her own journey outside of only wanting to be with Scott. Because in the film, we get to see that, young love and the heartbreak of it all, but then we don't get to see who she becomes from that heartbreak. And in this series, we do, and I think that that's always the most, that's the inspiring part, is when, how do you rise from the ashes, and that's what I love that we get to see with Knives here.
I think that the obvious is that I crushed Scott Pilgrim. Well, luckily it's a cartoon version of me because Michael could obliterate me. That definitely was really exciting to get to play a version of Matthew Patel who had a lot of agency and a lot of power and a lot of excitement. Obviously he's a bit of a funny character, and there's a lot that we play with kind of him being a lot of a joke, but also then he gets to sort of really step up and own the league for a moment, which was really an exciting element. And then the turn that these guys have made towards the end of the season, I don't know if we're not spoilering things. I mean, it's been out long enough. You should have watched it by now. But the kind of reveal that he just wants to be a musical theater kid, which honestly.
You just said, Mark, because you just mentioned that I finally got to get turned into a cartoon, and for all three of you, I think this is your first time voicing an animated character, so what was it like switching to that style of acting, and was there any particular part of that process that you found challenging or surprising?
It was super fun. It was also really cool to see some of the mock-ups and the artwork in the booth with us at the time. And yeah, I feel like it's liberating to just show up and be dressed however and just be in a little booth and try and give a performance. And I really liked it. And then I think as we went down the line, some of you, the rest of the cast benefited from already having other people's stuff recorded, but I didn't have that. I was literally the first.
You were the first.
Were you number one?
Yeah, you were the first person to record it for the whole show.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a performance that you're still crafting, and so it took a little second, and like jumping off of what you were saying, there were a few moments where I was like, yeah, that was awesome, and then I hear it back, and I'm like, can I do that again? I really need to put the performance in the voice, and like, not just, you know, sometimes you're reading it and you think, okay, I'm just gonna read the line and perform read, but then I had to really imagine the person that I was talking to and put myself in it in a different way. So that was really interesting and so fun. And also working with Brian and David is like just a blast. So much fun. We had a blast.
She also made me cry though. So.
I did? Oh.
No, but I should admit it, but it's not. We're like in private now. But there was one point where she was like so happy about like a character turn, where she had her back to us and she was just like, I always knew that knives would be okay. And I was just like, I was like so earnest about it. It was
It's
great.
true.
Hard. If you know, for me, the movie, it would be I think it's Pale House and Kim Klein
In the goth dress, yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
She was just pretty incredible.
We're here to see Scott Pilgrim kick your teeth in. It's like so good.
And I agree with you, Gideon's part. Yeah. Pretty special.
And we're like, that's in the show.
But he would like do it one way, and then you'd get this weird smile on his face, and then he would do it a completely different way that was like 100 times better. You know, like, but completely unexpected. Single thing he did.
Well, he was mic'd, and I went from saying I never say which actor said this to now I will say who said this, which is at the end of his first session, he said quietly to himself, this is really easy.
I was going through as an artist, they were going through as artists too, but then we were coming at it from different perspectives, them in obviously a very different world from scoring, and so there was a lot we had to teach each other in order to be able to work together effectively.